I never thought my quiet little farm, my slice of heaven tucked away in the rolling hills, would turn into a battlefield. But there I was, staring down a posse of self-righteous HOA types, led by a woman named Linda Harper, who thought she could bully me into submission. They had no idea who they were messing with. I wasn't just some guy growing corn and tending goats. I was a certified crop inspector, battle-hardened by years of dealing with red tape and nonsense. This wasn't going to be a walk in the park for them. It all started on a crisp morning, the kind where the sun paints the fields gold and the air smells like fresh earth. I was out feeding my goats, same as always when I spotted "Eat a cheap white plastic" sign zip-tied to my fence. Property under RE-VYEW. It said, like I'd somehow missed a memo. I ripped it down, tossed it into the burn barrel, and figured it was some kid's prank. Big mistake. I'd underestimated them. The next day, a shiny white SUV rolled up my gravel driveway, looking like it belonged in a hospital parking lot. Out stepped Linda, decked out in pastel blue khakis, mirrored sunglasses, and a clipboard she clutched like a weapon. "Hi there," she chirped, all fake smiles, like we were about to swap cookie recipes. "I'm Linda Harper, president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association. Just doing my rounds." I wiped my hands on a rag and leaned against the fence. "What's this about?" "Oh, just a friendly welcome to the neighborhood," she said, her grin widening. "We're here to ensure compliance with community standards, fencing heights, livestock ratios, noise levels, you know." She handed me an envelope labeled "Welcome Packet," but it felt more like a court summons. I could barely hold back a laugh. "Lady, this is a farm. The only standard out here is keeping the cows from wandering off." She didn't blink. "We don't cite animals, just their owners," she said sweetly, then spun on her heel and left. I tore open the packet and found a stack of nonsense fake rules, photos of my barn, even a picture of my satellite dish circled in red, labeled a VY Sewell obstruction. I burned the whole thing, thinking that'd be the end of it. I was dead wrong. The next morning, bigger signs appeared laminated, nailed to my barn door, screaming under enforcement RE-VYEW, violations pending. This wasn't a prank anymore. I called my buddy Tom, a sheriff's deputy, to see what he knew. "Linda Harper?" "Yeah. She tried to shut down a feed store last year over noise violations," he said. "Don't let her get to you. She'll move on." But I knew better. This was personal, and it was escalating. 2 days later, it wasn't just signs. Two guys in their 30s, wearing khaki vests labeled HOA Patrol, showed up, clipboards in hand, pacing my fence line like they owned the place. I watched from the porch, my blood boiling. This wasn't about fences or goats. This was about control. "Can I help you?" I called out, stepping off the porch. One froze, then muttered, "We're conducting a compliance sweep." I stared them down. "Get off my property." They didn't budge. I walked closer, slow and deliberate. "Got a badge." The guy flashed some flimsy tin thing that looked like a kid's toy. "We're acting under the Willow Creek Charter," he stammered. "Not anymore," I snapped. "You're trespassing under the Dawson Farm Charter. Leave." One dropped his clipboard, revealing maps, marked properties, and a big red X over my farm. I snapped a photo and called Tom again. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. A few days later, they came back, and this time they meant business. I was sipping coffee in my kitchen when headlights cut through the morning fog. The gravel crunched under their tires, louder than before. I grabbed my jacket and stepped outside, my heart pounding. The SUV was back, but now there were more men in khaki vests, radios crackling, MOVYing like they were raiding a drug den. Linda wasn't hiding her intentions anymore. "Morning, boys," I called, striding toward the barn, my boots crunching in the gravel. One guy jumped, clearly not expecting me to be so calm. Their leader, clutching his clipboard like a lifeline, tried to sound official. "We're enforcing Willow Creek standards. You're in violation of multiple clauses." "Violations?" I raised an eyebrow. "This is a farm. You're on my land, and you're about to regret it." I mentioned calling the sheriff, and their faces tightened. They weren't cops, and they knew it. I pulled out my phone and dialed Tom. "Get over here. They're trespassing and pushing fake laws." By the time Tom's squad car rolled up, the HOA crew was in chaos. Two guys circling my barn, others spreading along the fence, radios blaring about securing the area. Tom stepped out, hands on his hips, eyeing them like a hawk. "What's going on here?" he boomed. The clipboard guy stammered. "We're with the HOA. We have jurisdiction." "No, you don't," Tom cut in. "You're trespassing. Pack it up." One guy dropped his clipboard again, and I grabbed it before he could. More maps, more photos, all marked with red X's. I sent pictures to the sheriff's office. "This isn't a prank," I told Tom. "They're trying to force me off my land." He nodded. "We'll figure this out, but it's your word against theirs." "Not for long," I said, fire in my chest. "I'm going public. People need to know." Tom gave me a look, half concerned, half impressed. "You sure?" "Damn sure," I said. I wasn't letting Linda and her goons run me out. The next morning was too quiet. No goats bleating, no tractor humming. I stepped outside, scanning the horizon. My gut screamed trouble. I'd secured the farm cameras, motion sensors, the works. By noon, I spotted a black sedan parked down the road. Then Linda showed up, not in her SUV, but a sleek black car, flanked by two guys in tactical gear, looking like wannabe mercenaries. I stood on the porch, arms crossed, as Linda stepped out, her heels clicking like a countdown. Her smile was smug, but her eyes betrayed worry. "Morning, Linda," I called, my voice steady but sharp. She paused. "We're here to resolve this," she said, trying to sound in charge. "You'll comply with our standards." "I don't care about your standards," I shot back. "You're not welcome here. Leave before this gets ugly." She motioned to her goons, who started toward the barn, scanning like they expected an ambush. I waited till they crossed into my territory, then flipped the switch. Floodlights blazed, blinding them. Sirens wailed, set to frequencies that'd rattle anyone's nerves. "What the hell?" one guy yelped, shielding his eyes. I stepped forward, boots heavy. "Lost?" I asked, sarcasm dripping. They fumbled, radios crackling. But before they could regroup, Tom's truck roared up. "What's going on?" he barked, climbing out. Linda stood silent, her smile gone. Tom turned to the goons. I said, "Get off this property." They dropped their clipboards and scurried off, heads down. Linda's hands clenched, but she said nothing. Tom grinned at me. That was something. "It's not over," I said, my jaw tight. Linda wasn't done. A week later, a letter arrived, embossed and official-looking. I thought it was from a sheriff, but it was from a lawyer. Linda was suing me, claiming I'd disrupted a sanctioned community action and obstructed land reclamation. She'd even listed neighbors and local businesses as witnesses. It was laughable, but deadly serious. She was building a case, dragging everyone into her vendetta. I called Tom, and he was at my kitchen table in an hour. He read the letter, eyes narrowing. "She's turning you into the enemy," he said. "This isn't just about your farm anymore." "She's not breaking me," I growled. We spent hours gathering evidence of photos of fake citations, camera footage, records of Linda's stunts. But I knew this wouldn't stay in court. Linda was playing dirty, and I had to fight fire with fire. Then came another letter, hand-delivered, no lawyer, just Linda's handwriting. "You won this round, but you've made an enemy of the wrong person. I'll see you on the other side." It was a threat, and it chilled me. This wasn't just about my farm. Linda wanted me gone, isolated, destroyed. I reached out to my neighbors, starting with Mike, who'd stopped while VYing after Linda's lies spread. "Hey, Mike," I said, finding him in his yard. "We need to talk." I laid it all out, Linda's fake rules, her goons, her lawsuit. "She's DVYing us," I said. "If we don't stop her, who's next?" Mike was quiet, then nodded. "You're right. I'll help." One by one, I won others over, showing them the truth. The tide was turning, but Linda wasn't done. Then an investigator showed up, not one of Linda's cronies, but a federal agent. "Linda's HOA is a front," he said, showing me maps and files. "She's tied to groups collecting data, manipulating communities. You're not her only target." I was stunned. This was bigger than Willow Creek, bigger than me. The feds moved fast. Linda was arrested. Her scam exposed a years-long operation to seize land and intimidate owners with fake documents and hired muscle. Her network crumbled, and the community began to heal. Neighbors talked again, the tension fading. I wasn't the enemy anymore. I was the guy who fought back. But the fight left scars. I'd lost friends, my privacy, my peace. Still, my farm stood, my crops grew, and I was stronger for it. Standing your ground isn't easy, but it's worth it when the truth wins out. Now, I've got questions for you. Was Linda just a power-hungry bully, or was she a pawn in something bigger? Should I have gone public sooner, or was keeping it quiet the right call? Could my neighbors have done more, or were they VY Tims too? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe. I want to hear what you think.